This ancient tablet details a drunken exchange of the divine powers of the universe from Enki, the Lord of Wisdom, to Inanna, the Queen of Heaven and Earth. So this is one of the tablets from the myth Inanna and Enki, which is essentially where Enki drunkenly gives away all the divine powers, or the maze of the universe, to Inanna, the Queen of Heaven and Earth. So these are the lines we're going to be looking at today. So in Sumerian it reads, Muanga, Muabzunga, Kuginanara, Dumungur Ganabshum. So first off we have Mu, so this is taking on the meaning name. Then we have A, which means arm or strength as it's translated often. And then we have a form of the first person singular possessive pronoun. So as you can see here, the first person ngu, which means my or I. However, when it is paired with the locative, which is an a, or a genitive, which is also an a, then essentially the u drops and then the g and the a come together to create nga. So here's an example just here. So the locative, just to remind you, means in or into something. So as you can see, we have ngu paired with the locative, so it creates the nga sign. So this would mean in my city. So let's look at our example. So we translate this bit as in the name of my power. And then a very similar construction is happening here. Mu absunga, so in the name of my abzu. So then the next line we have kug, which is an adjective which means pure or holy. And then we have Inanna Ra. So we have the divine determinative, which lets us know that the name that follows is divine. So we have the goddess's name Inanna. And then we have the dative case Ra attached. So this means two or four. And then we have Dumu, which means child or offspring. And then we have this ending here, this whole ending here is forming Ngu, which is the first person singular possessive pronoun, as we've just seen in its original form. So this means my daughter or my child. Then finally we have the verbal chain. So first off we have ga. So ga is known as the cohortive prefix, which essentially means I want to do something. So it's a first person prefix. Next up we had na, which is the indirect object marker, which marks the beneficiary of a particular verb. And then we had ab. So I'm using this example here because it's essentially the exact same construction except the verbal base is different. So we have ga, na, ab. So ab here is normally the third person inanimate marker. So we would translate that as it. So in our example, the verbal base is shumtu, which means to give. So with all these prefixes and infixes in mind, I would translate that line, that verbal chain, as I will give it to her. So looking at the final official translation on the electronic corpus of Sumerian literature, we have, in the name of my power, in the name of my Absu, I will give them to Holy Inanna, my daughter. So that's all from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.